Hello, 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 and welcome to Emotional Response Podcast. This is Life Coaching with Ink. Ivory. Hello. Welcome again. I'm so excited. We are this week covering a heavy topic of abandonment. Last episode, I really dived into what abandonment is, starting from your early childhood to relationships. And I really didn't intend to make a part 2, but I just wanted to say some things before I talk about the topic of tonight, which is betrayal. When it comes to abandonment, and I'm going to let this podcast roll. Let me stop. I'm going to let this podcast roll because we might not get to betrayal tonight, because I really want to expound on the topic of abandonment, mainly because it's happening so much in the world and people are not coping. People are not coping, and you're finding it more and more that questions are going unanswered, and no one is taking the time to answer them or give clarity. They're just moving about. And without people even verbalizing it, it's like their behavior is saying, oh, well, such is life. And we don't ever want to get to a point in life where we forget the hearts of other people and how fragile their heart is. Their heart is just as fragile as your heart is. And even though in today's world, it's more than ever about self, I challenge you, encourage you, inspire you, and challenge you again. I have to stress it again, challenge you to treat others as you want to be treated. And so if you want to be treated, includes taking into account your feelings, you need to take an account of other people's feelings. And when it comes to this abandonment topic, I'm going to dive into my personal life. When it comes to this abandonment topic, I can admit that it's a very uncomfortable topic. I never really experienced abandonment in my life until this time of my life. As long as I have been taught what the word friend is, I've been careful who to label a friend. And now it shakes the very core of my definition of friend, this topic of abandonment. Mainly because I had one friend maybe 5-6 years ago, through a misunderstanding of viewpoints, that friendship ended. And I love that person dearly, and I made several attempts to make a reconnection. However, one thing about you making attempts, You can't control the other person's heart or responses. So what you might deem as not earth ending, they might deem it as earth ending. And so that relationship was severed. I don't know if in the future God might allow it to be reconnected. The universe might bring us our paths to cross again. I'm not sure, but right now it's been about 5, it's going on 6 years, and maybe I'm overestimating. Not 5 or 6 years, maybe 4 going on 5 years that we haven't been friends. And it could be many reasons under the reason why, but I know that it was a level of abandonment on my part, that I felt a level of abandonment because I never looked at the relationship actually ending. And I looked at us as sisters. And so that stopped. And then just recently, in the past year or two, I think since my daughter been born, I had another friendship that I considered dear. And literally it has dwindled away as the years have gone on. And now it's to the point, and I know 2-3 years is not a long time, but it's still a process, it's still time. And then after 2-3 years, now it's down to nothing, where that person's birthday has passed and I have not desired to reach out, because on a regular day I have attempted to call the person and they never return my call. And so relationships are abandoned, and you feel the level of abandonment when a call is not returned, it's not answered, and it's not made. And you find yourself a little vexed in your soul because you have put some value to that friendship. And as much as we in 2018 try to act non-affected, we become affected. And so I want to talk about abandonment when it comes to friendships. Mainly because regardless how many friendships are severed, life is good when you have friends. So you might not have the friends that you started off having after 10, 20, 30 years. But the friends you have become family because they are able to weather the storms of life, weather the different phases of life, from marriage to having kids to building businesses. Their friendships don't change. And the ones that abandon doesn't mean that it wasn't a real friendship, it, in the person's eyes, ran its course. Can it be revived? That's debatable, because it's a rippling effect of emotions that happen after you're abandoned and the person is crushed to a certain point, especially when they done tried and tried to reconnect or stay connected, and you have pushed and pushed away. Not necessarily physically pushed, but pushed in a way without giving a response. That's a level of push. And how do you move forward when the friends you had for 10, 20, 30 years are not there anymore? It is normal for it to hurt. Being abandoned is normal to hurt. It is normal to feel a level of despair, your soul vexed. All of that is normal. What is not normal is not acknowledging that you are affected. Because the very moment a person walks around saying they don't care, they not affected, they unbothered, they become even more affected, more bothered. And so it's funny, because what we suppress only grows. So when you deal with the emotions at hand and say, this is what I feel, this is what's going on, this is what I'm dealing with, it helps you to process it and then move forward. But when you don't process it, you unintentionally start severing the relationships that are still in your life, because you go into a self-preserving mood where you say, well, these cut me off, these people cut me off, how many more are going to cut me off? And so you even distance yourself from those that are still in your corner. So you have to be mindful. It starts with you. It starts with your emotions. Can't walk around acting like you're not affected, that a friend you had for 15, 20 years is not in your life and it's not affecting you. It very well might be. And you have to deal with it and process it and say, whether you journal it or have quiet time to yourself where you're able to admit the uncomfortable, where you might even cry. Where you might even need a sounding board. I understand. I'm not saying it's justifiable, but I understand when people get to a point where they put a hard shell up and they become more reserved after feeling hurt from so many different directions. How couldn't I get